There's a moment in adulthood when you look at your bank account, your responsibilities and your life, and you quietly admit something you never thought you'd say. Saving money feels harder now than it ever has before. Not because you're irresponsible, not because you're careless, but because the world around you changed faster than anyone warned you. You try to be disciplined. You try to be prepared. You do everything the right way. Yet somehow the numbers don't move the way they used to. It feels like time is speeding up, while your money refuses to follow. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. 2025 exposed a truth that most people are only now beginning to understand. Money no longer behaves the way it used to. And the people who rely solely on saving are the ones who feel it the most. For most of your life, saving was a dependable strategy. It felt like a simple, almost sacred contract. If you save consistently, you earn stability. If you're responsible, life will eventually reward your effort. And for many years, that contract held true. But 2025 quietly broke the rules you were raised to believe in. Today, you save $100, and before the month even ends, groceries climb by 40. You save $300, and utilities rise by 60. You build a cushion, and life slowly chips away at it in ways you can barely keep track of. It's never one dramatic blow that destroys your stability. It is dozens of subtle shifts that quietly drain the security you have worked so hard to build. None of this is random. This is the new rhythm of adulthood, a rhythm that adjusts itself without asking for your permission. And the hardest part is not the financial pressure you can see, but the psychological pressure you carry in silence. It is the pressure of trying to manage a life where every cost seems to adjust automatically, while your income remains still, waiting for some distant approval. It is the pressure of watching the cost of living behave like a living organism, moving and reshaping itself without warning, while you try to hold everything together with numbers that do not change. It is the pressure of trying to build stability in a world that seems designed to stay unstable. And over time, this pressure does something subtle to your mind. Saving no longer feels like an act of progress. It begins to feel like an act of survival. And survival is not a strategy. Survival is a warning. It is your emotional instinct trying to tell you that the world around you has shifted, but your expectations have not caught up. To understand why 2025 feels so heavy and why your money feels like it is evaporating even when you are responsible, you must understand how money actually behaves now, because money in 2025 is not the same energy it used to be. Before we continue, subscribe so you don't miss our next video. Moving forward with why money won't sit still this year, and what that means as we head into 2026. The thing is, money used to be calm. It used to be predictable and patient. When you stored it, it kept its value. When you waited, it rewarded your discipline. The world moved slowly enough for saving to work as a reliable plan. But 2025 shifted the behavior of money completely. What used to feel stable now behaves more like reactive energy, adjusting itself the moment something in the environment changes. Money today responds to pressure instantly. It adapts to uncertainty almost overnight. It changes direction based on forces far outside your control. One month, prices rise only in one category, and you think you can manage it. The next month, something entirely unrelated suddenly costs more. Interest rates shift before your income has any chance to adjust. Global events, even those happening far from your daily reality, find a way to ripple into your life through subtle price increases and unexpected costs. Political tensions create shockwaves that make long-term planning feel fragile. Supply chains bend and twist in ways that affect everything from essentials to routines you once assumed would stay affordable. In this new environment, money does not sit still the way it once did. It behaves like liquid inside a vibrating container. You place it somewhere safe, and it shifts. You try to protect it, and something new attacks its value. You attempt to plan ahead, and before your plan settles, the world changes its rhythm again. The ground is constantly moving, and your money responds to every tremor whether you want it to or not. This is the true reason saving feels broken in 2025. Your money is not failing you, your habits are not failing you, and your discipline is not failing you. What is failing is the expectation that saving alone can hold its shape in a world that refuses to remain stable. The rules you were taught were built for a slower world, and the world you are living in now moves too quickly for those rules to protect you. But the financial struggle is only half of the story. The deeper impact is emotional, and that emotional shift is where most people feel lost, confused, and blindsided without understanding why. 2025 hasn't just changed the numbers on your bills, it has changed the emotional weight of managing money. What you are experiencing is not a single event or a clear moment of crisis. It is a gradual tightening of everyday life, a series of small shifts that accumulate into something heavy. And that heaviness comes from a perfect storm made of subtle forces that most adults feel but rarely discuss out loud. The cost of living is rising in a way that feels almost invisible. Nothing jumps high enough to shock you into action, yet everything increases just enough to unsettle your stability. It is the slow kind of inflation, the kind that doesn't make headlines but slowly reshapes the reality of your daily life. A grocery item that used to cost $10 is now $13. A utility bill that once hovered around a predictable range suddenly stretches beyond what used to feel normal. You brush it off the first time, then the second, until you realize the shift wasn't temporary at all. These micro increases don't break your budget in one moment, but they drain your confidence over time because they create a financial environment that feels unpredictable. And while life keeps adjusting effortlessly, your income remains still. Most people earn in fixed patterns. Salaries take months or years to move, but prices move weekly. This creates a psychological gap that wears you down. You begin every month with the hope of progress, only to face the reality of an economy that shifts faster than your earnings. The feeling isn't failure. It is mismatch. It is the emotional weight of trying to manage a moving landscape with tools that refuse to change. This mismatch is what drains your motivation, not the actual numbers. Then there is the wound no one talks about directly, but almost every adult carries. The quiet disappointment that comes from watching your savings lose strength even when you are doing everything right. You followed the rules society gave you. You avoided unnecessary spending. You built your emergency cushion. You tried to be disciplined. And somehow you still feel like you are standing in place. That emotional fatigue doesn't come from laziness or irresponsibility. It comes from the emotional experience of effort without visible reward. When you save, and the world simply absorbs your progress, it chips away at your sense of control. Over time, you begin to internalize the problem as if you were the one falling short, not the environment around you. This is the paradox most adults face today. People blame themselves instead of recognizing that the world changed first. They wonder why they can't keep up, without realizing they are trying to survive with financial tools that were built for a slower, more predictable world. And once you understand that, the frustration you feel starts to make sense. It isn't you. It's the system you were trained to trust, behaving in ways it never behaved before. And this emotional weight sets the stage for one of the most important shifts you can make. The shift that begins when you finally see the world as it is, not as it used to be. That shift often begins with a single story that changes how you interpret your own experience. A man told me something recently that captured 2025 perfectly. He said, "I don't feel like I'm failing. I feel like the world keeps changing before I can catch up." And he was right. He wasn't irresponsible. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't mismanaging his money. He was doing everything our generation was taught to do. Save consistently, spend cautiously, avoid unnecessary risks. Yet he felt defeated. When we looked deeper, the truth was simple. His financial strategy wasn't wrong. It was outdated. He was saving for a world that no longer exists. He was expecting the economy to behave the way it did 10 years ago, slow, predictable, patient. But the world he lives in now is none of those things. So, we reframed everything. Instead of asking, "Why am I not saving enough?" he asked, "What is my money reacting to right now?" That question changed everything, because saving today is not a static behavior, it's an adaptive response. And once he began observing his financial environment instead of blaming himself, the anxiety disappeared. Not because he earned more, but because he finally understood the movement around his money. This is where the real transformation happens. When you stop expecting money to stay still and start learning how to move with it. There comes a moment when you finally accept that money is not the still, predictable thing you were taught to manage, but a living resource that adapts and reacts to the world around it, just as you do. And the moment that realization settles, something shifts inside you. You stop punishing yourself for things you cannot control. You stop carrying guilt or shame when the numbers fluctuate. You begin to see that money's movement is not a reflection of your worth or your competence, but a reflection of the environment you are navigating. In that moment, saving transforms from a rigid measure of discipline into a much wiser measure of awareness. It becomes less about how much you can lock away and more about how clearly you understand what affects the money you already have. Progress becomes the ability to notice when the rhythm around you changes and respond without panic. It becomes the calm recognition that adapting to the world does not mean you are failing. It simply means you are awake. You begin to define success by your ability to stay aligned with reality rather than exhausted by expectations that no longer fit the time you live in. And when you shift into this mindset, an unexpected sense of control returns to your life. Not because the world suddenly becomes calmer, but because you finally become calm within it. You give yourself permission to breathe, to adjust, to observe, and to make decisions with clarity rather than fear. This is the new financial adulthood, where stability comes not from forcing money to stay still, but from becoming steady enough to move with it. But even with this new sense of clarity, mindset alone is not enough. You also need a practical way to live this understanding, a way to see what is happening with your money without feeling overwhelmed by it. In a year like 2025, real progress does not come from tightening your budget until it suffocates your life. It comes from improving the way you see and interpret the world around you. Your financial growth depends far less on saving more and far more on understanding the movements that shape your money each month. This begins with releasing the expectation that every month must look the same. Instead of assuming your bills, habits, and needs should remain perfectly consistent, you start to observe what shifted in your environment and why. This simple act of noticing removes guilt and restores the emotional stability that money quietly steals when you treat every financial change as a personal failure. As you observe more, you begin to protect your money in a more flexible way. Some months demand caution because prices rise. Others demand grace because life is heavy. Others demand strategic tightening because an unexpected cost appeared. Saving becomes more effective when you let it adjust to the season you are in, rather than forcing it to behave like a fixed rule. With time, your focus moves away from obsessing over a single number in your bank account and toward understanding the rhythm of your financial life. You stop asking, "How much did I save?" and start asking, "How did my money move?" As you see patterns, surprises, and shifts more clearly, the weight of uncertainty begins to lift. You build clarity before comfort, because clarity gives you the power to make grounded decisions without fear. This clarity brings emotional relief, confidence, and a more stable relationship with your finances. It allows you to walk through unpredictable times without feeling lost inside them. Before we continue, let me share something meaningful, something we built specifically for people living through years like 2025. It's called the Trip to Wealth Command Center, a clean, simple Google Sheets system that turns your financial chaos into financial clarity. It doesn't overwhelm you with numbers. It reveals them. It shows your income rhythm, your expense movement, your financial pulse. It transforms your money from pressure into perspective, from noise into a story you can finally understand. You can join the early access waitlist below and lock in your exclusive discount. So, if 2025 taught us anything, it is this. Saving did not become harder because you became less responsible or less disciplined. It became harder because the world quietly accelerated around you. And the moment you understand that truth, something inside you softens. You stop fighting the world as if you are supposed to control every unexpected shift, and you begin navigating it with clearer eyes and a calmer mind. You save with awareness rather than pressure, with clarity rather than confusion, and with adaptability rather than rigid expectations. That is the new path to stability, a path built on understanding instead of exhaustion. If you found value today, I encourage you to watch our next video, The Silent Habits That Build Wealth, because it expands this journey in a way that will make everything you learned here even more practical. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so you stay connected to this community. And before you go, take a moment to reflect and comment which stage of the wealth ladder you are currently in. Your answer may help someone else see their own journey more clearly. Until next time, stay consistent, stay patient, and stay winning. See you in the next one, Money Magician.